Hey everyone, so quick Sunday video today, just a little vlog. I've been a little more consistent with these, but I got some really interesting questions actually on my last Instagram post. On my Instagram post, I just asked for questions in terms of, is there anything about me that I haven't talked about that you want to know, or kind of what questions do you have? So I wanted to go through a couple of those and answer those. So it's more like a Q&A. I did make a post just with like a Cliff Notes version of my journey, because it's been sort of all over the place. And so for those of you who have stuck through the whole thing, I asked for comments like, who here is an OG? And I got a lot of comments, so that was pretty cool. You know, back in, it's been since like early 2014 that I've been pretty active here on social media. And so it's just cool because a lot of my friends in the fitness industry, actually, we first met or connected via social media. And now we, you know, some of them I've actually become real life friends with, and we've met in person and then build a relationship, and it's been a really it's been a fascinating journey. So I wanted to go through some of these comments, but it's been, you know, I was a little bit reflective this week too, as I was like thinking about some of these, because I posted these older, not old photos, but just from when I was powerlifting, or some shoots that I had during my bodybuilding days. So like back when I was competing, currently not competing, but coaching others to do that. And I just was having sort of a reflective moment of all the places I've been and all the people I've met, and I've come across some incredible people throughout this journey. And I just look back and I'm like, man, I am so blessed to have just different circles of friends, because I was involved in powerlifting and bodybuilding. So I've really created I have this network of people that in my life, and I'm just so grateful and so thankful. So first question. So this comes from my friend Wolf. If he watches this, I've known him since like the OG days. He commented, I joined both IG and met you 5 years ago in December 2014. So long ago. All three of us have changed. Oh yeah, because I met him through a mutual friend a lot since then. What's one thing you wish you could go back and say to 2014 Katie Ann? If I could go back to 2014 Katie, I would just say, to be honest, there's nothing in my journey that I would change, because even the mistakes, they have led me to where I am today, and I wouldn't change the mistakes, because there's so many lessons from the mistakes, and so many lessons from just decisions you make that weren't right, or, you know, the challenges. Actually, like, that's when you grow the most, is when you're challenged the most. So I would say probably just trust God, because even things that seem like it's like the end of the world, it's not going to be the end of the world, and like God will provide. I've been so fortunate, and I look back and like my steps have been, you know, I've been very blessed and protected. And so, you know, there were a few bumps in the road. I got a really bad back injury in 2015. Then some other things, like I had some personal things that happened with relationships that were like devastating for me during that period of time. And like, I just really, really suffered a lot, like personally during that time, and at a few points, which I never talked about. And, you know, everyone does, everyone goes through things, but it was a difficult time. But there was so much personal growth. And so I think just telling 2014 Katie, like, there'll be some bumps in the road, but those difficult things it's going to like develop you into the person that you are today. So, okay, next question is, wait, I just saw it. I like have it open on my computer. What is my sport background? So my sports background is track. I actually ran track in middle school and high school. I played tennis. My brother was a tennis coach and actually played on the circuit around kind of the world. And so that led me to play tennis, and my whole family sort of was in the tennis world. But then I was better at track, so I quit tennis and ran track in middle school, high school. Finished as high as 7th in the state as a sophomore in the 1600 meter run. Hit a 5-minute 1600 meter run, I was so pumped. But then I actually ended up getting a stress fracture my senior year, or junior year going into senior year. No, it was junior year. Was in a boot. That's when I started lifting. Then kind of my world fell down a little bit. I was out for so long. It was misdiagnosed. The stress fracture got really bad. Then I got mono. It was like a series of events that totally threw me off, and it was a very difficult time because I really placed my identity in track. And if you ask my friends from high school, like, what was Katie known as? It was like the track runner. So that was kind of like my identity, right? But that was stripped away from me. And so it's interesting looking back at my journey, but that's what led me to lifting and to not running in college, because I was planning on running actually on scholarship in college. And then I got mono, and I just was so fatigued mentally that I just decided to not run in college on scholarship, and maybe potentially run like my sophomore year just as a walk-on. But then I found bodybuilding. The rest is history. All right, so I'm going to answer another question. So this question was, what advice would you give someone who is just starting out in bodybuilding? So my advice, wish I would have told this to my like 17-year-old self who wanted to lift weights and get jacked. Spend more time not dieting than dieting. And the reason I say this is because muscle is not built in a caloric deficit. Now, you can get newbie gains, you can potentially lose fat and build muscle at the same time if you are on point and maybe you're coming off a layoff of training, like someone who, let's say they were a serious trainee and then they got pregnant, had a child. Okay, yeah, because they've taken time off from training, even though they have that training base, when they get back into it, they'll probably lose fat and build lean body mass at the same time. Or if someone is a newbie, and you can definitely take advantage of like newbie gains. But to take full advantage of newbie gains, you should not be dieting constantly. And that would be my one piece of advice for sure. But then also to be patient. It takes so long to develop, especially if you're looking to compete, to develop a physique that is going to be competitive. And so don't rush it. Some of the best bodybuilders are in their 30s, 40s. So your prime is not going to be when you're 22, right? It's going to be a little bit later. I actually was super, super young. I think I was the youngest WNBF Worlds winner ever, and I was 25. So like that's a little bit unusual to be that young. And a lot of people are, you give it time, like it's not a race. So that would be my other piece of advice. So those are the questions I'm going to answer. Keep this under 10 minutes long. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday, and I will be back this week for sure with maybe another vlog or a training update. I haven't done one of those in a while. Do you guys enjoy those training updates to kind of hear what I'm doing? That's something I could make a video on, is my current training split and how I am approaching my training right now. I'm still working with Alberto Nunez, and he has been fabulous. Love working with him. Coaches need coaches. So it's been such a blessing to be able to work with someone who has challenged me in many ways. Definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone this past year. We've been working together since like November, and I feel like I grew a lot as a coach, as an athlete, and as an individual for sure, working with him for sure. So I've been very blessed to have awesome coaches, amazing coaches in my life. Like my first real contest prep coach was Lane Norton, and he's bomb. You know, he's amazing. So, and then I worked with Cliff Wilson. I've worked with Jacob Orms from DeNova Nutrition. I've also just been blessed to be around like Ben Escrow of DeNova Nutrition, kind of in my early training years. So, just had I've had great coaching throughout my entire career. So, very blessed. All right, guys, I'm gonna peace out. I'm going to church. Fresh for Jesus. Hashtag fresh, but it's FRASHHH. Do it. Talk to you later.